Welcome to the African Educators Forum. We have with us today the leadership of the University of Liberia Alumni Association. Just to give you some context to today's event, in recent weeks, specifically on July 28th, not July 28th, June 28th, the president of the University of Liberia, Dr. Julius Saulo Nelson Jr., embarked on some recent reform processes at the university. Part of those reform focuses mainly on academic changes at the University of Liberia as regards the e-learning process and the use of instructional technology in moving the university forward. And so for today, we have a representation from the University of Liberia to examine the issues. We have with us the chairman of the board of the University of Liberia Alumni Association in the Americas, Mr. Terrence Krenga, and he will introduce himself further. We have Ms. Sandra B. Hall, who's also the vice president of the University of Liberia Alumni Association in the Americas. Welcome to you, our panelists. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, sir. We will also be joined by the chairman of the University of Liberia Alumni Association's Board of Education Committee, Mr. Panapu Early. He too will be a part of this conversation. So all that's going to be said today is going to inform our conversation with the president on the 18th. And we'll be hoping that you will all join us on the occasion to engage the president and in all our collective effort to move the University of Liberia forward. So welcome again. And I'm going to give you all a minute or two to just introduce yourself, tell us who you are, where in the world you are, and what you do. Yes, sir.
Okay, I'll start. As been said, right, my name is Terrence Krenga. I am first and foremost an educator. I'm a Liberian educator. I also am the chairman of the board of directors of the University of Liberia Alumni Association in the Americas. I'm a married Christian with 4 kids. I have a wonderful wife, Jessica Roberts Krenga. A supporting structure in my life. I appreciate her much. I also live in Germantown, Maryland. For the last 13 years, I've been teaching mathematics, in the US here. But my mathematics sojourn actually started far before that. I was fortunate to have taught at the university for a couple of years. I started to teach at university in 1989. I was invited as a teaching assistant, and I served for about 10 years, minus the years of the war. So I have a passion for mathematics, and I've always taught all my life. I've provided private tutorials, and now I provide education consultation also in the United States. So I'm happy to be on. Over the time, I've taught mathematics just in Don Bosco Polytechnic, down Stella Marie's. I've taught at the Library of Telecommunications. I've taught at my alma mater, St. Patrick's High School. I've taught at Convent. So my life basically has been teaching mathematics. So I'm happy to be on, and I look forward to a fruitful discussion.
Thank you so much. Ms. Hall. Mrs. Hall?
Sorry, I was muted. Hello, everyone. My name is Sandra Berry Hall. I want to thank you, Mr. Williams, for having us on today. Of course, I'm a Liberian, and I am a graduate of the University of Liberia in Monrovia, Liberia. At the university, I studied business and public administration, majoring in accounting and minoring in economics. I'm married to Dr. Melvin Hall, who is also a chemistry professor here in Georgia. We have been blessed with three wonderful daughters, Meldra, LaSheryl, and Shekinah Hall. All of them are doing very well. Because of different circumstances as we, moved after my husband's completion from Auburn University, I sought employment, and in the process, I began to substitute teach in the public school system. Of course, when I migrated to the United States, I worked as an accountant and a budget analyst. However, that was not my cup of tea, so to speak. So once he graduated and I began to seek employment and began to substitute teach, I found that that was really my passion. I enjoyed the math classes that I substitute taught, and I just, it just brought me so much pleasure to see the kids understand concepts that I would break down to them. So I decided to pursue my mathematics career. So I wish I did, and ultimately I became a certified math teacher in the state of Georgia. So that's what I do now. I teach. I enjoy that very, very much. I enjoy impacting the students in a positive way. And it just brings me so much pleasure to see the light turn on in their heads, especially so they think that, some concepts are so difficult. But once I break it down, they say, that's all, Miss All, that's all. So that gives me a whole lot of pleasure to know that I can impact them, and I can bring math alive to them. So thank you again for having me on, and I look forward to this program.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. So let's jump in straightly. Within the context of the reform that has been instituted at the University of Liberia, and we don't have a UL representative here right now, but the Alumni Association is present. And the context of our conversation is to position the UL Alumni Association in constructively engaging the reform process. And so I want to kick off by saying, without being associated with so much detail as regards the reform process, what is ULIBAA's position in terms of vision, rather, in terms of engaging the University of Liberia? What is ULIBAAA currently doing as far as programs at the University of Liberia? And that's a question for any of you.
Okay, so ULIBAAA, University of Liberia Alumni Association in the Americas, and I failed to mention that I'm the national vice president for that organization. We're working very closely with the University of Liberia right now, and one of our big projects is to construct a multi-purpose building there at the University of Liberia. We're informed and we're familiar with what they're doing as far as the online alternative online program is concerned during this pandemic, and we have a close working relationship, with them. We're collaborating, and we're helping them, working alongside of them to make sure that the students who are our future leaders get a sound education and get what they need.
Okay, Mr. Greenhouse?
Yeah, thank you. Just to add to what the Madam VP had said, to be able to work with the University of Liberia, we need to build a strong foundation ourselves. So one of the things we're doing is to build a strong membership foundation and get them okra with what is happening. So the executive has done a good job in marketing the multi-purpose project. We have a social media platform. Oftentimes it's on our WhatsApp page. And so this new reform, this online training transformation that the University of Liberia is embarking on has been shared on our WhatsApp platform. And there is a ton of excitement and interest from our membership. So one of the ways we get to get them involved is through general meetings that the president will call, the WhatsApp page, the social media platform. And often, sometimes we will have emergency meeting also, like in terms of talking to the University of Liberia president when he comes to the States. So those are ways we get our membership involved.
Okay. As you well know, that the proposal being instituted by the president, Dr. Nelson, is time-based, and it's going to take a lot to get the program functionally active to ensure that it's benefiting the student population, but more so the instructional population. Because one of the experiences we've had, and having had the Vice President for Information Technology of the university on several weeks ago, there's a capacity issue at the university. It's an acute capacity issue, and that's exacerbated by the level of the issue of technology and technology in instruction. So in my mind, what is ULIBAA's mindset in terms of the timing of these reforms and positioning itself to become an effective partner in the process?
Okay.
Are there any immediate undertakings that's positioning ULIBAAA to become an effective partner? Just before you answer that, let's welcome Mr. Early, the chairman of the ULIBAA's Board of Education. Mr. Early, welcome.
I don't think that's him.
Oh, that's not him?
No.
Oh, I'm sorry. Okay. Go ahead.
Okay. I think the way to go forward just with solving any problem is to request a needs analysis from the University of Liberia. You know, where are you in this program? What do you need? Now, you know, I have, aside from my degree in math and physics that I've used to teach mathematics, I also have a master's in education. My focus is instructional technology. In the design of any learning management system, there are a lot of things that need to be in place. So the thing is not to try to speak down to the University of Liberia, but to ask, what is it that you've done already? Where are you? So the way to go about it is just ask for a needs analysis. What is it that the university has accomplished? What is that they need? Like you said, the head of the computer science department had talked about capacity. So capacity can be in the form of human resource capacity in terms of academic capacity, that is teachers to teach courses online, or it can be in the form of technological demands, you know, having the tools, consistent internet connectivity, smartphones or Chromebooks or iPads, you know, for the kids to be able to use. So there's a lot of things to be asked of the university to see where they are.
Yeah. That's all.
Just to add to what the board chair just said, ULIBAAA has an educational and scholarship committee that has been reconstituted. And what this committee does, Dr. Early actually heads this committee, and I was hopeful that he was going to be on to speak to that. But this committee was recently set up, and we're working closely with the University of Liberia to be able to address some of these things that you talk about as far as capacity, training professors, because as all of us know, there was a civil conflict in Liberia. And because of that, or as a result of that, there was a brain drain. So as far as faculty is concerned, we're hopeful that in the future, we can liaise with some universities here bring our professors from the university over to the United States and have this training, give them some opportunities to either be retrained or to improve upon what they already have. So in so doing, we can build the capacity. Also, we have student programs in the works, as far as exchange programs, helping to meet some of their needs, helping to prepare them, providing resources that will enhance what they're already doing. So, that's where we are, so, yeah.
The driving philosophy of this platform is Africa training Africans for Africa. Okay? Or Africa learning from Africans for Africa. The whole historical context of Africans leaving the continent and coming out here, learning and going back has evidently been problematic, because many times Africans come out here and find it difficult to go back home. And so one of the philosophies have been, how do we train our brothers, our sisters on the continent in ways that undermine the need to actually be out here to be considered effective? What can we do from the distance? Hence the erection of this platform. Now, can we train or can we transfer capacity from here to the University of Liberia, given all of the technologies we have? Can we do that as an organization? Can we do that as individuals? It's a rhetorical question, but it's also a question to provide us the basis for rethinking some of the ways we want to engage the university. Okay? Can we find a way to engage the reform process using technology? And that's the question right now.
Well, let me just speak to that a little bit. Some of our graduates and former students here in the United States of America have expressed interest in going back, because the whole purpose for which ULIBAAA exists is to give back to our university. So many of them have expressed interest in going back to teach or to play an active role in the university. However, because of the instability in the country right now, everybody is waiting, everybody is watching, the situation in Liberia before they make a decision to go back and, reestablish back home. But yeah, many people are considering, taking what they have, being able to acquire or to learn here in the United States. And I believe other places, other countries also.
Yeah, Terrence, the context of the question is, what can ULIBAAA do? How can ULIBAAA contribute to the process without having to pack their bags to go home?
Okay.
Yeah. Mr. Kringa?
Okay. Yeah. Again, to piggyback on what Sandra said, there are a lot of people who want to give back. One of the challenges has been not only the instability, but just the cost. Because if you got every vacation, and not everybody has the amount of vacation that teachers would have. Teachers will have up to like 2 months or more of vacation time. But even if you have 2 months, it costs a lot of money to do a round trip and to stay in Liberia. So now that there is technology, there has to be a meeting of minds. So the fact that the University of Liberia has embarked on this online program makes me to presuppose that they've done their homework and they've done all the technological and other pieces. They might need some extra teachers or extra resources in the form of laptops, maybe, like I said earlier on, in the form of technical advice. But even if you have teachers here who have been teaching in the States, they may not be familiar with online platforms, and they may not be comfortable with teaching online. It's one thing to go and teach on a whiteboard. It's another thing to teach via Zoom or other learning management systems. So So the first thing ULIBAAA can do is to be a bridge. We can say, look, man, we have 20 people in a slew of professions, right, who want to teach, but they're not comfortable teaching online. Do you have the mechanism to train them? Or if they don't, then we can reach out to other institutions or nonprofits and say, hey, man, we want to train some people to be able to work online. Or go to school systems and say, look, man, you've been using this online learning management system for a while. Can you help us? So I believe ULIBAAA can be a bridge. That's why I talked about the needs analysis. Where are you in the process, University of Liberia? What is it that you need from us? Oh, I need some technology. I need some teachers. Okay, we can then come in and provide that bridge to help us with. So again, right, some of us already have taught on an online management system, and I'm more than willing really to teach a couple of math courses also in the process. And so I just feel that's one of the ways we can do it.
Yeah, it will interest you to know that immediately after our engagement with the Vice President for Information Technology at the university, a couple of the panelists from that setting were part of the training at the University of Liberia. Yes, those panelists had to wake up like 5 in the morning to make a 9 o'clock appointment for the training. But so there's the logistical angle and there's the economic angle to the question, you know. But holistically, do you, Ms. Hall, do you see this as a need for some institutional retrospection in terms of, is ULIBAAA currently positioned to engage in the University of Liberia in the reform process? Is there or are there considerations to be met before ULIBAAA can constructively engage the reform process at the university? Do you have to undergo any form of reform yourself to better prepare you and position you to engage the reform process?
Thank you for that question. ULIBAAA is in the process of, there are considerations on the way, like Terrence, the board's chair alluded to, availing himself, because he's already had that type of training. But in order for ULIBAAA to get fully involved with that, we have to understand that there's a need for training, okay? In the United States where we teach, there is always some type of ongoing training for professors and for teachers. We have faculty workshops, we have faculty development, programs to facilitate and to enhance our teaching. So as we consider being a part of even the online platform, we would like to see that type of thing, with the university. So that is one of the reasons why we're working closely with them and the education committee as they are developing programs and strategies to work with the university. We're hopeful that, that professional development piece in the ongoing learning or enhancement of learning for the university faculty will be put in place, some type of mechanism. I hope I answered your question.
Yes, you did well. Mr. Krenga. Yes, sir.
I was asking, could you repeat the question, please?
Oh, the question is will there be a need for institutional restructuring so as to better position ULIBAAA to constructively engage the university in the reform process as an active participant?
You see, I don't want us to appear to be putting the cart before the horse. You see, we got to understand that in any institution, there are constraints. There are constraints in terms of time. There are constraints in terms of resources. So, and especially in volunteer institutions. Now, ULIBAAA is a volunteer institution. People have full-time jobs, and they still stretch themselves to volunteer their services. So we got to have a needs analysis. We got to ask ourselves, what is it that the university wants? Because keep in mind, there are a lot of things in the pipeline. Yeah. So like has been mentioned, right, there is our multi-purpose project. Okay, so with the multi-purpose project, right, there is already a structure in place for communication. So the University of Liberia communicates with the president of ULIBAAA, and through the executive, right, it gets to the board of directors, and then we then brainstorm, right, and then the institution makes decision. So take that in mind, right? There's also the scholarship committee. There were scholarships in place, right? And then the president of Liberia came up and then, you know, made the school to be tuition free. So as we think about structuring ourselves, we don't want to be overstretching people, preparing them for things that just aren't ready to be implemented. So yes, there is a structure of communication, but we got to be clear, right? Are we wisely and optimally using our time? What is it that you need, University of Liberia, so we can address it? So we can just be training people here and there, preparing people and finding Chromebooks and this and that, only to find out that, hey, man, we're not even ready for that, and we've overstretched people. So I think the first thing is to say, what do we need?
So your response definitely highlight the point we're trying to make. Do we wait to hear back from the university, or do we begin to preempt what might be going on and how we as an institution can fit into it? You know, so do we look at our structures? For example, I hear you talk about the scholarship committee. Scholarship is one angle, given the needs in Liberia, but what about professional engagement, professional development? You know, is that an angle we can begin to put our minds around so as to begin to engage once we get an enroll? You know, that's the context of the question.
Okay, I understand that. Just a point of clarification. The committee is actually the Education and Scholarship Committee.
Oh, okay.
Right.
So yeah, it's not focused on.
I was about to say that.
So the terms of reference encompasses the entire education piece, and that's something for us to discuss, because again, right, we can start to go in our database, which should be a membership drive thing, right, or a membership committee thing, and say, look at, let's look in our database, let's put a survey or a poll out there, right, and ask some questions. Who is willing to teach, right, in this online platform? Are you trained already? Would you need training? So we can start that, right? I like that question, right? We can be proactive and start that, have a poll, and then get a database of people who are waiting in the particular areas, right? And then when the university acts, right, and then we can just pair them up. And I think that would be a good way forward.
Also, yeah, I want to note, if you allow me to, again, I was going to correct that whilst we had the scholarship committee, we do have an education and scholarship committee, and this committee's job, or part of the job, is to liaise with the University of Liberia, you know, inquire about the needs, inquire about what direction they're heading, what can we do. Also, the president put a note in the chat room and reminded us that our ULIBAAA here in the United States is a part of the Alumni Association. The Alumni Association is broken into two parts. One part is in Liberia, and they're the parent body, and we are, you know, an organized group in the United States of America. So we work very closely with that organization in Liberia as they work with the university, and we have direct contact to ensure that we're clear with what their expectations are, what their needs are, what, you know, are some of the things that we can do to improve the students' tenure, or to improve their quest for education at the university.
One of the thanks, Hall. One of the conversations I've had with the president has been, you know, we came out of the quick impact regime immediately after the war. A lot of the undertakings were quick impact, quick impact. One of the quick impact needs or demands right now at the Universal Library is the absence of a library. We definitely need a library, but that's not realistically feasible in terms of the logistics, collecting books and what have you. And so I remember mentioning to the president, President Howard, that is, that within the means of ULIBAAA, could we, and I say we as a collective body, could we embark on a process where instructors and students have access to online resources as a substitute for the absence of a standing library in the entire country? In the entire country, there's not one effective library. There isn't a library anywhere. So can ULIBAAA work around in terms of critical need, work around establishing a platform where teachers and students can go to under the canopy of ULIBAAA to access online resources like journals and articles and platforms of learning that could be effective? Is that something that ULIBAAA is thinking about?
Yeah, I'll go first, Terrence, on this one. Again, we have this multi-purpose building project that we have embarked upon. And of course, within this particular multi-purpose facility, we have included a library, media center. We also have included computer rooms, computer labs, where students can go and access the internet, and retrieve online resources such as journal articles, ebooks, so all of those are in the works. Dr. Early I see him coming on now.
Yeah,
so yeah, but yeah, definitely, that is something that we're looking at. We want to cover as much grounds as we can, so yeah, to answer your question about the
Dr. Early, welcome. Dr. Early, we want to plunge you into the pool right away.
I can speak whilst we're waiting for him to realize his connection. And this is an education piece, because honestly, right, all those resources are there in cyberspace.
Yeah.
It's about redirecting people to those resources. So it's an education piece, which I think, right, we can challenge the education and scholarship committee to come up with a plan.
That's what I mentioned.
Just like the vice president was saying, because at the end of the day, right, they're all in cyberspace. But one of the challenges, that, we may get to challenges and problems. One of the challenges that we need to recognize, like you're saying, getting ready.
Let's go ahead.
Okay, getting ready, right? One of the challenges, like we say, getting ready will be, again, it's one thing to be in the States and have a cell phone plan that you pay monthly and you have unlimited data, than to be in Liberia where you pay per data units. They're two different things, right? Where you pay per data units. So if we're saying that kids must learn using their smartphones, right? Then we gotta consider all of those concerns. So it's good thing to say yes, redirect them to these journals, to the Library of Congress, and to math journals and to science journals and the science websites where they can access the information. But I need data to do that, really.
When we studied economics, there were two concepts. There was cost push and demand pull. Those two concepts can apply in the social sector. Liberia is at a point where demand must push our lead towards a technological environment. the world is leaving us behind and we cannot sit and wait. Now, it's true that the cost associated with accessing a lot of the resources we talk about is really high, especially on ordinary people. But think about it, how expensive cell phones were when it was first introduced in Liberia, you know? And many of us at the time didn't believe we would have had the opportunity to get a cell phone. But as we went along, those costs became affordable. However it did, it became affordable. Liberia is at a stage right now where, yes, students, there's the economics of a lot of the decisions we have to make and the choices we have to make, but it has to start somewhere. It has to start somewhere. And once it starts, it's going to be like a pandemic. It's going to spread. Let's on that note, welcome Dr. Early. Dr. Early, welcome. You have to unmute your mic. Seems like we lost them for a minute. Okay, great.
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir. Loud and clear. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Sorry for the technical difficulties.
It's all good.
It's good to be here. It's good to be here. And thank you for the invitation. I really appreciate the patience of me getting on and everything. Thank you, Sandra, for your efforts too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, Dr. Early, we wanted to just plunge you into the swimming pool right away.
Okay.
How is the Education and Scholarship Committee positioned to helping ULIBAAA better represent itself in terms of the reforms taking place at the University of Liberia?
Well, thank you very much for that question. ULIBAAA has a very good educational plan and program in place that we are, our priority actually is to focus on the students of the university, and in terms of providing resources like scholarship, books, and other things for the university students. So our ultimate overall goal is to help students and to help the school, the university. Even though ULIBAAA is the umbrella of the educational wing or the educational idea that we have, we want to do everything through ULIBAAA because we cannot do it individually, or we cannot do it as a segment. We have to do it within the University Alumni Association framework. So that framework we are using to work to bring things to light.
Okay.
So basically, that's where we are right now.
Okay.
Yeah.
President Howard and one of our participants online have corrected me, the host, to say ULIBAAA is not ULIBAAA in isolation. It's part of the broader organization of the Alumni Association. So thank you very much for that, Ms. Hudson,
Sure.
and President Howard. So,
George, can I come back in again? Okay.
yes, sir.
I found that I lost some time early on in my responses, right? Yeah, so I've been a little more technical, and I'm starting my stopwatch so I can take full use of my time and reclaim some of the old ones. And just to speak on your economic piece, right? Your cost pull and demand push, whatever it is. I'm not sure if I said it correctly.
Yeah.
I kind of worry about that because we got to understand we're about to start a second semester in an online platform. You know, we cannot hope that the students will find a way to get data and get smartphones to access their education. It can't be on chance. We can't hope that they will be pressed and pushed into buying those things. Because I tell you one thing, right? As a mathematics teacher, math is a language in its own. I was in a professional development the whole of this week, right, Monday through Friday. And on Thursday, one of the facilitators made a very poignant and a very profound point with English language learners. She said, one of the students has said, I'm trying to learn a language in I'm trying to learn a language I don't know in the language I don't know. So this student is trying to learn mathematics, which is a language in itself, and they're learning it in English when in fact they're a Spanish and French speaker. So if we start this university with all the resources, and we're hoping that after the first week of school, some students still haven't logged into their classes because demand pull and cost push will help them find laptops, I think it's unfair to them, really. It is unfair. We really got to look at, because then we set them behind to fail already. And you know, so I think there's a lot that needs to take place, right? Because my master's is an online master's. Learning online is highly autonomous, it's a highly initiative prone process. So our students who are used to being in a classroom where the teachers are managing them, there has to be an orientation where they got to learn online. Think about it, learn to learn online. So this thing can't be taken lightly. You know, I'm sorry I sound passionate, but it can't be taken lightly, because we can't just push them in the fire and say we baptizing you by fire, or we throw you in the river and you will learn to swim. That wouldn't be fair, really.
No, it wouldn't be. We talk about cost push within the context of access, you know, but most definitely, in our previous, one of our panelists, Mr. Chris Toba, in fact, on the maiden edition of this platform, actually accentuated the point that training and retraining was important. Engaging the faculty on one hand and engaging students on the other hand. You know, it's a multi-level engagement that has to stop, but it has to start from somewhere. It has to start from somewhere. And so, Mr. Early, you did provide us some generalized overview of what the committee is doing, but within the context of what is unfolding at the university, what are some specific ideas the committee is currently considering in terms of moving the Alumni Association more productively into partnering with the Universal Librarian?
Well, we are doing everything, like I said, through the Alumni Association. But specifically, one of the things we have looked at, or at least we have been considering, is the setting guidelines, for example, for who's going to be qualified to get scholarships, or who's going to be qualified to get academic awards, and these kind of things. That's one of the main reasons. In setting these policies and guidelines for scholarship are necessary, because they will help to have in place a framework from which people can apply to the University Alumni Association to be able to get the sponsorship. Now, with respect to the online education that the university is starting, we have not gone deeply into that, but what we have been working on is trying to create a digital library for the University of Liberia itself. And that project is a good project for the university. When I was at the University of Virginia, one of the things that I had a dialogue with one of my colleagues there, or friends, was that we could do a digital library of all of the information that are currently in the library, and plus additional ones, so that people can have access to those things. Now you are aware of the fact that there are a lot of ebooks and other things. So, because on several visits that I have made to Liberia on just for personal observation issues, I have seen the library system has kind of declined a little bit with respect to books and upgrading the new kind of books that, because every year people publish new books. So most of the books when we were students, or before we became students, the materials we had are still there on the shelf. And so we want to try to see if we can replace some of these things and get new materials in the library. But we have to do that again through the Alumni Association. It's not an individual or personal project. It's a personal passion, but not necessarily a personal idea or personal project that we need to do. So that's one. Also, we want to also work with other educational institutions in Liberia or outside Liberia to make these ideas come to fruition, because if not, we can't do it in isolation. So on a broader perspective, and not to take all of the time, those are some specific things we are working on currently.
Okay, great. Ms. Hall? You want to add to that? Ms. Hall? Okay, good.
I'm sorry. Yeah. So what I was saying is that I want to buttress what the board's chair said in his comments as far as transitioning from face-to-face instruction to online. Here in the United States, where we teach, for example, all of our students are giving what we call Chromebooks, okay? And so some of our assignments are already being done on the online platform while they're in the classroom. So when the pandemic occurred and we went to online or virtual learning, it was easy for them to transition because they were already familiar, they were already acclimated with using the online platform, so to speak. So with our Liberian setting and Liberian students, you know, just to throw them or thrust them into that platform when they have not had any type of orientation, that would be a challenge. Whilst it's true that almost everybody in the world right now is to some degree technologically savvy, we still need to have some training in place because that is an online learning platform. It's not just going to your cell phone and typing in stuff, or you know, but it's we really needed to have introduced that before. So one thing ULIBAAA can do is work closely with the Alumni Association on the grounds in Liberia, who is the parent organization, Parent Alumni Association, to ensure some type of training. The other thing is that the country as a whole is facing problems as far as electricity is concerned. You know, we can't use the computers, we can't do any type of online platform without electricity. So that too is a need that has to be addressed in order to have this whole online platform effective. So.
Yeah, just thinking about it, we wish we had thought about inviting a representative from the association in Liberia to be a part of this conversation, so we would have had a more holistic, well-represented conversation.
And George, that, you know, and you beat me to that, right? You beat me to that. So since you've said that, right, I'm gonna reclaim my time, I'm gonna add to it.
We're gonna reclaim it.
Yeah. So and just to reference the actual structure, I would suggest that the focus of the education committee be redirected to this online reform. Because I hear Dr. Early, and by the way, it's Dr. Early, right?
Yeah. He doesn't like you to say doctor, but he worked for the degree, so.
Okay, yeah, because you know, because I had a math chairman, right, who somebody called Mr. Mason. He said, "No, I'm Dr. Mason. I worked for him." So, but anyway, our friend and brother Early, yeah. You know, I mean, so I think it's about encouraging our committee to refocus its attention on this online reform, because there was a scholarship piece, but because the president of Liberia has taken care of more or less taking care of that piece, right? Instead, we want to redirect our scholarship to other resources students will need. That could be, but I think it, you know, in terms of, because I think George had asked, right, what would be the communication link? And because this is an education piece, I would think that it would make sense for the chairman of the Education and Scholarship Committee to be that link with this reform piece, and so that he will be the one speaking and collating information, sharing it with the president, eventually getting to the board of directors, so that it doesn't seem like there are several people being communicated with. So, you know, one person in Liberia, he has a call from the president, he has a call from the chairman of the board, he has a call. He said, but wait, now 3 people talking to me, so that there can be this consistency. That would be my suggestion.
Again, for those of you who are just following us, this is a precursor to a meeting on next Saturday on the 18th with the president of the University of Liberia to discuss with us his reform initiative. And so most definitely, Mr. Early, it will be great to have you on next week again to further engage with the president, in terms of more concrete activities or vision in terms of the university's partnership. Now, I know at the level of ALIA, the Association of Liberian Educators in the Americas, some work was being done to create a database. Mr. Kringer, you were a part of that initiative. Is there any such thing right now? Or do you think it will be shifted or should be shifted to the Education Committee to now establish a database from which can serve as a resource for some of the initiatives we just spoke about? What do you think?
I think the organization needs to establish a task force for this reform initiative that can be, made up of a combined set of committees. Two committees that I see, from my perspective, will be the Education and Scholarship Committee and the Membership Committee. If we also want to include the Communications Committee, that's something we can look at. But just to answer your question more directly, right, I think if the Education Committee were to pull, would access the database of members already, and maybe come up with a poll, the Education Committee come up with a poll and say, hey man, do you want to teach, be a part of this online program? In what capacity? Are you able to teach right now? Do you need training? These simple polls where people can fill in right in about 2-3 minutes, and then that poll can be collated, and then the Education Committee can be able to look at and say, look, man, we got 100 people who are willing now to teach. 20 of them want to teach mathematics, 35 want to teach accounting, engineering, medicine, and so forth. And so we have that information when the university requests, right? Look, man, can you help us? Early would be like, yeah, man, we're ripe and ready, man. We have the human resource capacity to help you. These amount of people need training. Can you train them? No. Okay, we have a nonprofit who are willing to train them also. So like you say, right, we can be this bridge and we can be proactive, right, in making sure all of things are in place. And then the question might be, do you have logistics or tools? And say no. Now, and then we can do research, right? Maybe there can be divvying up of responsibilities. Dr. Mr. Early can be like, look, man, that is overwhelming, right? We need Chromebooks and iPads and whatever, but we can do that one. Is there another community that can help? And then as a group, we can be divvying responsibility and we can be making this thing happen. So at the end of the day, right, it is the organization that is making it happen. Not to mention, as the president said, we can reach out to AAUL in Liberia and ask them also, really, this is what the university has called, this is our piece. What do you think? Do you have resources in Liberia that you can access?
And Mr. Williams?
Go ahead, Ms. Hall.
Yeah, I can see that the president is making some comments also in the chat room. And just to add to that, for them to embark upon this program, the online learning, they must have been planning all along. So hopefully next week, Dr. Nelson can throw some light on, all of this, give us some more details as to, because we wouldn't expect that they would just come up with the e-learning, hopefully they have put a lot of planning into the process and, they're ready to jumpstart the program.
Great point. Word in the air is that ULIBAAA is working to structuring its secretariat with the intent of putting a lot of different structures and activities in motion. It would be my thought that, like Darren said, that the need for an immediate conversation around structuring and positioning ULIBAAA to addressing some of these issues in a preemptive way. Having, for example, the membership and the education committee, but most of the membership. Is there, and I'd just like to know, is there a database of ULIBAAA members in terms of who they are, where they are, and their backgrounds? Do we have anything existing currently?
Yeah, we do. As a matter of fact, a form was designed and it has been placed in Our chat room is being placed on the website. So members, of course, graduates and former students are encouraged to go there, access the form, fill it out, and all you have to do is hit that submit button, and then the membership committee uploads that information into the database. Well, I think it's even automatically uploaded in the database. So we do have a database of our membership.
Yeah, see, the database is about 236 people, and that's outstanding. You know, that's a huge number.
You know, George, I believe you're reading from the WhatsApp page, right?
Yes, sir.
So you're technically saying that there are 236 members signed up to WhatsApp. There might be people who are members who just haven't joined the WhatsApp group. So we can say there are at least 236 that to work with.
Just initially, you have that stronghold, that strong group to work with. Yeah, definitely. So we have 4 more minutes, but for the sake of Dr. Early, we will add another 5 minutes so that we can wrap up this conversation. Because one of the things we want to do is to leave here with some concrete thoughts, some actionable thoughts, having had this conversation. One of the issues we've talked about is a database. Dr. Early, how does a database help your work? How does a database help your committee in terms of its mission forward? Your mic.
I'm reading.
Oh, sorry. Hold up.
I'm reading.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, sir. We got you.
Okay, good. I was saying that as Brother Kringa was suggesting about the task force, the education membership committee, those, if we have that, we need that kind of database to be able to function, but we don't have access to it. Personally, I don't have access to it yet. It's not that it's not available, I just have not, you know. So we are going to take some of those suggestions that Brother Kringa suggested, you know, with the education, so that we can be able to do this thing, because this is a serious thing about, especially starting the school online. I personally have not done, I've done classes online, courses online, taught 1 or 2 online classes through Blackboard and something else. But for our association, maybe next week we have very practical and I want to say specific information on that particular point, because that's something we have to also develop, work on. I want to meet with my committee members too. I don't want to speak in isolation of the membership of the committee.
That's right. That's right. The focus, according to the information coming out of the university, is that Moodle, as against Blackboard and other learning management systems, the university is going to use Moodle.
Okay.
So there's ongoing training at the Fendel campus and the main campus on Capitol Hill in training teachers in how to use Moodle.
Yeah.
One of our observers online asked, why are we not talking about other universities and incorporating other universities in this? And our response to that will be, everything we talk about that affects the university generally affects other universities. The logistics, the challenges, all of them are basically the same, even though most of them are private universities, you know, and the whole idea of education right now has become very competitive and commercial. So helping the University of Liberia as alumni of the university is the primary focus right now, you know. So we talked about the database. We talked about an educational task force. I've asked the president, President Howard, to just give us a 1-minute cameo to just wrap up some of the things we've talked about. It's 12 o'clock. We talk about engaging both the membership and the educations committee in coming up with ideas on how to move forward. Those are practical ideas. So if Howard is on, President.
Yeah, he's muted.
Yeah, ask him to unmute.
Hmm.
Just a word before we wrap up. If not, let's start with final words. The chairman of the board, any final word?
I just read in the chat, right? The president reminding us that we discussed this online program with Dr. Dennis before. So if we discuss it in a meeting, I'm presuming that we have minutes for that meeting, and then we can glean the information he shared with us so that it doesn't seem like we're asking something he's already shared. It gets upsetting when you say, look, I met with you for 1 hour, I told you all of this, right? And then you're asking the very same questions. So we can try to glean the minutes from that meeting, or we can also write a letter, again, as the president suggested, right, to the Universal Library Universal Library Administration and the AAUL, right, offering our help, but expressing our concerns, even we don't call it concerns, and just wondering, you know what I mean, what is it that is already in place, or just how can we help, you know what I mean, because there are a lot of people who want to help, and a lot of people who are panicking about this program because they're worried about the electricity, the logistics, right, and the teaching capacity. You know, how can we help in those areas? And then we can do our own homework, you know, forming this task force, accessing our database, you know, sending out polls about people who are willing to be trained and to work. Because keep in mind, even those who are working on particular learning management systems may not be occurring with Moodle. And so it's one thing to say I've taught on Blackboard and something else, and I think that you can just teach on Moodle. So there has to be the availability also. So that's a lot of good things that have come from this discussion, and I'm hoping that we can collate all of that and come up with an action plan or a plan of action.
Wonderful. Ms. Hall, final word?
Yes, sorry, I had to unmute myself. But yeah, just to add to what the board chair said, the online learning platform is a great idea. It's widely used here in the United States of America. But the thing to note is that there has been a lot of planning put into it. So if you want an effective online program or platform, you have to be able to, first of all, develop your faculty and staff. You have to properly train them and provide the necessary resources that they need in order for them to be effective. Not only that, the students need to understand that it takes a lot of discipline and self-motivation to be successful on the online platform. I don't know that our students have that level of discipline in online, because maybe with the university setting, they will have a schedule of courses where they have to have a specific time to log in, you know, and that kind of thing. But generally here, even when you do online programs at the degree levels, you have to be self-motivated. You have to be able to have the discipline to log in by yourself within a certain time frame and, you know, do the assignments, do the work, and get the credit for the work. So, but great idea, great platform. I wish them all the best. I wish them success. And we are here. ULIBAAA is here working alongside of the University of Liberia Alumni Association in Liberia to do whatever we can to support the initiative and to help it be successful. I'm happy to be on, and thank you for having me again.
Thank you so much. Thank you for coming. Mr. Early, final word?
You're muted. Okay. We can't hear you.
Yes, sir.
I was saying that the meeting itself today produced very good results for me personally, because as chairman of the educational committee, I've heard from other people and their ideas. One of the things I wanted to emphasize is the last meeting we had with Dr. Dennis. He emphasized that there were already computers and computer labs at the university that people were personalizing and things. So I think the University Alumni Association will have to get in where we fit in, so to speak, because we are not on the ground necessarily day to day, but we also want to have some positive impact in our area. And the other thing is that our committee the committee, the educational committee here, has the expertise to also help in the training of people using the online thing. So if we come to that, we can help identify people who can also help provide training on behalf of the Alumni Association. So I look forward to talking more about this, and especially next week with the president when he comes and has some specific ideas of how and what he wants to do at the university. And then we can come in.
Thank you all for such a wonderful conversation. I will say this is, in so many ways, been one of the most engaging conversations we've had. We can go on and on and on. I'd like to thank you, Terrence, Chairman of the board, Ms. Hall, Vice President of ULIBAAA, Mr. Early, Chairman of the Education Committee. I also like to especially thank those who came on as observers, Mr. Howard, Mr. Hall, Ms. Hudson, and many others who followed us by Facebook as well. A copy of this recording is going to be forwarded to you, the panelists, and I will do my best to put a copy on online so that people on the chat room can have access to it as well. Thank you all, and I look forward to your engagement.
One last point, George, is again, right? The president just sent a message in the chat room, so he's at a doctor's visit, so that's the reason he couldn't come on.
Yeah.
He also wanted to know regarding the minutes. He says I think it was an informal briefing, but we will try to clean as much information as possible from the previous meeting with Dr. Dennis so that we can act on it.
Most definitely. But thank you all.
Mr. Williams, I'm sorry. I just want to mention that ULIBAAA has donated computers to the University of Liberia. So
that's wonderful.
That's what I'm talking about.
But we hope to see you all come on next Saturday to enhance our discussion with President Nelson. Okay?
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you.